Saturday night for you. Both of us are giving some very important time for the promotion of mediation. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Vikram.
But Leyla, you can't come in yet. You cannot. First, you have to tell us about the conference. That's the format now.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. So first I want to say thank you, Vikram, for your vision in creating an international awards media conference where mediators around the world are coming together and raising awareness of the practice of mediation, and how wonderful to have this opportunity to explore, discover, and connect and share ideas with colleagues around the world. I mean, you're in India, and I mean, US, and I love this, and I'm sure there are people in all over the world probably watching us, right? Right, Vikram?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I see that you are celebrating Ken Cloke's 85th birthday, and I know that you're sharing the mediation vision that's going to happen in 2026. And I love how you had everyone on Zoom singing happy birthday to him. So I wanted just to let you know that my birthday is coming up soon. So if you want to feel...
I'll tell you about this. I'll tell you about this. Leyla, the thing is that the last day of every month, I've been celebrating birthdays of mediators. So I've done that.
That's really, really sweet. I thought that was very special. I've known Ken for some time. He's a wonderful, wonderful person, a wonderful mediator.
Yeah, he's a special person. He's a very special person.
Very much so. Very intelligent, very intelligent. And I've taken a lot of his trainings, and yeah, he's definitely up there.
So basically, at the end of the day, we were able to get to about 90 sessions. And these are topics that people have picked up. I mean, I asked everyone to choose their topic. So it's been interesting. And like you said, I was just putting there because the last person who's come in from Singapore. So we've got, but before that, let's tell people that all of the recordings are on YouTube, and you can watch them whenever you have time. So that's one thing there. But I will show you the number of countries. But before that, Leyla, you have to tell us about yourself and then the topic. And before we move, I'll show you the countries and all. But yeah, please.
So you want me to tell you a little bit about myself?
As much. Only before you even before you even tell me about yourself, I have to know what countries are right against your name.
Well, I'm originally from Iran, and everyone has their own purpose behind practicing mediation. And my practice involves family law mediation. And I'm in California. And I personally enjoy having the ability to help people through compassion and empathy, just to get to the heart of conflict. Mediation for me is about being a healer of conflict. I want to heal conflict. I don't want to create more. And I want to empower people to make their own decisions. I also serve as a mediator, mentor for the mediators at the Elderman Children's Courthouse through a program called Southern California Family Mediation, SCFM, because I've always believed that every child deserves to have a happy place and a safe, loving home. And I'm committed to making that a reality. Also, Vikram, I'm currently co-leading a monthly family law PDG group with another organization that I am on board with, Southern California Mediation Association. And the purpose of that is we are sharing and we're learning kind of what you're doing, but it's more local. And we're supporting and bringing experts to train mediators. And I actually would love it if you can be our guest speaker. We can talk about that later.
But the guest speaking, I'll tell you what happened was that there's so much work that I take up. And I'm short of time to do all this that I put out. So I actually now, I mean, don't even these people invite for conferences and all, like I have to tell them without them feeling, I mean, that I'm trying to be very difficult, but I have to explain to them that there is so much work and there's so many good people out there to be part of this. So I actually end up doing that kind of, I mean, I'm telling you, there is 10 times more work that I can do, which is already planned out, which I was telling you. But
Yeah.
let me quickly, I'll tell you what, I didn't talk about the schedule there. The schedule is out there on social media. You can get the link there. So the idea was that you can actually, of course, this is the thing, this is not now, there'll be about 92 sessions. So you can see the social media posts. Here is where the panelists are. So you can actually, there's a link to the LinkedIn profiles of everyone. I think the two people who don't have a LinkedIn profile. So I've got the Instagram profile. So these are all the countries in there. So you've got a mix of people. Why did I write Iran in front of your name? Is because people should know that, okay, this person is from Iran. Don't have stereotypes about people, because that's the biggest issue that we have in the world, is that there are stereotypes for every country. So
Very true.
that's why I put it out there, because people don't really meet people from other parts of the world sometimes. So that's just a mix. There's been a mix. This one, there won't be so many countries involved. There don't seem to be, because I, for whatever reason, I mean, I don't, so maybe I didn't push it so much because there was a limitation of the number of, I mean, I wanted to end it on the 30th of June because it was more planned in July. But the symposium, which was in August to September last year, was 45 countries, or 97 speakers there.
Amazing.
So it's been a mix of people. So
I wonder, I'm just curious, were you able ever to connect with anyone from like the Middle East, like Iran or
yeah, I'll tell you, let me start with, of course, one person in this symposium is a student in Iran. She's actually from Afghanistan. That's Huma here. Huma is from Iran, from Afghanistan, studying there. And of course, someone who did not know about mediation saw some posts on Facebook and then got interested to find out what's happening. Then she said, I don't know anything about mediation. So I started telling her about it and connected that to what people traditionally have done in Afghanistan. And immediately it clicked with her, because her father is a village head. And she said, oh, my father does this. And suddenly she knew everything about mediation. So which is what I'm trying to do, because
Love it.
people have not
Yeah.
connected to the process which they know about. This word is going around as a technical word somewhere, oh, rocket science and everything. So last symposium, that someone called it the Woodstock of mediation. In that symposium, the theme was this: that people might not be familiar with the word, they're familiar with the process. So
Yes.
that being the idea behind it, but at the same time distinguishing between the arbitration that traditionally has happened in the village head and the religious heads have done, where they've told them what to do. Not that. So you had to tell them, look, that's a different aspect. That's not mediation. There are people who actually don't impose a solution on you. Those are people who are doing mediation, and they connect with those people. Suddenly now they know everything about mediation. They know those people. It's really interesting. I'm really saying. So we have from Iran, we have someone from Lebanon. She's a Palestinian in Lebanon. So that seems to be the
Love
middle.
it.
So last one we had someone from, of course, Iran, another person from Iran. So, I mean, there's a mix of people, young people who, like I said earlier, were not out there. This person from the Palestinian from Lebanon, she was
Yeah.
like so shy. She said, I want, initially when she came in to watch one of the sessions, oh, I won't put my camera on and all. I said, no, you have to be part of it. Now, like she tells me, now like I've become so, she's out there in conferences and everything, and she says, you started me off there. I said, damn good, yeah. I mean, you're out there in the world. At least that message is going out from. So it's been really nice.
That's what's rewarding about what you're doing.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
I will see
Like
if I'll call her
you're
up if
you're
she has.
you're
I'll,
changing lives.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That, I mean, that is what I get happy about, when people tell me that otherwise they wouldn't have been out there in the mediation world. And today, like I said, she's out there in mediation competitions, conferences, and everything. And she's like, I'll try. I'll see if she's available. I'll call her in. So I will see. So
Let's
so
do it.
so Leila, the topic is interesting. You have to educate me at the same time, because juvenile dependency is something that you're going to tell me about. So it's putting children first, juvenile dependency, and mediation. The show is yours. I come in if and when you want me to come in. So please.
Am I going to be able to share the screen? Because I have.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So why don't I go ahead and share the slides? Okay. You see the slide. Just want to make sure.
Absolutely. Seen that. Yeah.
So I understand from Michael Lang that you like images. So I try to go with that as well. But I'm going to talk a little bit about what the dependency court is responsible for. So the juvenile dependency court is really there to ensure the safety and well-being of the children. If a child is not adequately cared for and the well-being is put at risk, then there's a risk that that child is going to become abused or neglected, the child will be taken and the child protection proceedings will be initiated. So parents have up to 24 months. However, 18 months is the standard to complete the unification requirements that the judge orders. But if the child is under 3 years old, this is just, it does, I hear different things, but what I've heard is if a child is under 3 years old, parents have up to 6 months to show they're committed to finishing up everything. So I'm going to explain the process and later the timeframes of the dependency hearing here. But, before I get in depth about the process, this is something that I really try, even in what I practice family mediation. Words are powerful. And I'm sure you understand this, that as mediators, we understand how terminology can lead to conflict and how it can be harmful as it can add shame and devoid the critical situational context. So words like visitation, right? Words like custody, offender, non-offender, I feel like it needs to be changed as it can perpetuate conflict, even though there's no term on alternative in the legal system, but this should be thought about intentionally by us in the mediation world. So I was trying to be really cognizant of the words I'm going to be using, and I share with that more later. So the process starts here with emergency response investigation. So somebody calls DCFS, Department of Children and Family Services, because there is an incident of abuse and neglect. It could be a domestic violence situation, and the cops are going to be called, and then they make a referral. This could be a school teacher, a counselor calling because there's a neglect case where the child is absent repeatedly, or the child looks malnourished, or poorly clothed. So in some of the worst scenarios are cases where bruises or mark observed. And of course, there's also emotional abuse, but this is what we tend to see, are the marks and the bruises. And the teachers, therapists, medical professionals, all those people are mandated reporters. So if they see something, they have to make the call. So it could be a hospital, and a baby comes in with classic shaken baby syndrome, or unusual marks, or a story that doesn't correlate with the injuries. These are unfortunate cases, and there's social workers and emergency workers who respond and do the investigation, and those people are going to make the initial assessment, potentially need to go to court, need to get the court involved, as we see on here. And the first decision is they have to make if there's an emergency. So what does that mean if there's an emergency? They need to remove the child right then and there. Or they might say, well, we don't need to remove the kids, but we need to supervise the situation or investigate further. This is a concerning situation. So that's the first two circles you see here on the flow chart, where child not removed from parent, child removed from parent. For example, there could be a situation, children are living with a parent and that parent is using drugs, and there's a call made and children are found in an unsuitable home. There's no food in the fridge. That leads the department to think, okay, we need to take these kids. One parent might be blacked out from drug use, and the first thing they're going to ask is, where's the co-parent? And the co-parent could be living somewhere else. They could either take the children to the other parent or relative, but other times it's possible that a petition is filed, as we see here, just against one parent who has done the abuse or neglect. But more typically is where both parents are not adequately caring for the children. So there could be a situation where a parent is living with a significant other and they find a co-parent who has been basically absent, but then the co-parent can step in and take the kids. So once the department decides to take actions, they're going to file this petition here. And it has to be in court quickly because this is equivalent to loss of your liberty. I mean, what's worse than losing your kids? So within 48 hours, there's a petition and a judge is reviewing these allegations. If a petition is approved, all involved parties receive appointed counsel, which means that children, DCFS, everybody's going to get attorneys. So let's say, for example, if the child is detained, attorneys can argue placement determination. So detention hearing is only for families whose children, which is here, where children have been taken away from the families. And they ask the social worker opinions to the situation between the parent or child, like what's going on. And social worker honestly have very, very challenging role here in the US, very difficult role. They have to protect the children. They have to investigate abuse or neglect. They have to provide services to parents and to prevent the children from being removed. They have to prevent further trauma to the child. And if necessary, they have to remove the child from a parent. I mean, those are all very, very challenging position to be in. I mean, imagine, my niece is a social worker. She just started, and sometimes we talk about these cases. But imagine a social worker in the middle of the night is placing 3 siblings in 3 different foster homes all over the county of Los Angeles. But then at the detention hearing, let's say the maternal grandmother shows up and minor counsel or other parents' counsel show up and say, these siblings are separated. We can't even see them. They're very far from us. We don't even drive. Can you please place them with a close relative? And many times that happens in the detention hearing.
But
where they have.
Sorry,
yeah.
Leyla, can I just interrupt for a second? I just called Huma in. Like I told you, she's from Afghanistan, Iran. She has exams.
I would love to meet her.
She has her exams going on, but I said, just come in for 5 minutes, just meet Leyla.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Huma. It's such a pleasure to meet you.
Huma,
I think you're
she's
you're
on mute.
mute.
Yeah, you're on mute, Huma. Yes, Huma, you'll have to put on. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's such a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
What? It's good evening in Los Angeles.
It's actually good. It's actually good night there.
Here is in the morning.
No, I go to bed at 2 a.m. Vikram. So
I know that. I see your messages. I see your messages. I want to keep saying good night. So I told you Huma's background. Student in Iran from Afghanistan, got interested in mediation by just, I don't know how, Huma, you saw some posts or something, and now she knows everything about mediation because she's connected it to her village, to her father. Yes, Huma, you want to tell Leyla, about it? Mhm. How did you, what are you thinking about mediation? What happened? How did you get there? Because I was trying to tell her people have come in, which I'm very happy, who would otherwise not be in the mediation world. So you want to tell her about that?
Now?
Yep, now.
It's putting you on the spot.
Okay, before this, I don't know about the mediation, how about this. When I joined in this conference with different people, actually I understood what is that. For example, my family and in my village, and actually myself and all the people do the mediation. I share some experience of my people who live in my village and my family member. For example, in my village, especially, they have a traditional culture. They dispute to each other about some issue, but in here, one person they come, they have the skill of the mediation, and then they come in between these two group and say, what do you want? And all of them is saying what they want, and then the problem will be solved. It is become a mediation. And we have different examples of about this. And also in here, I think you are from Iran, Leyla?
Yes, I was going to ask you, speak Farsi?
Yeah, I know Persian. My
You
language.
cool. So I think Vikram, we're going to continue in Persian from.
Yes, that's what I want. That's what I want. That's why I want people to
Okay,
speak.
That's it.
Vikram.
I'm going to be. Huma and I were going to continue talking in Farsi for the rest of the.
Look, I understand a few words because obviously in India we had a Persian influence. People used to come in here and also we picked up words which we also don't know they're Persian words. We have in our colloquial language, we have words from all the Middle East and everything.
I'm obsessed with watching Indian movies. So I see, like, a lot of the words like I hear sounds like Farsi.
Yeah.
But but Huma, you speak
First, let me
also like.
show you where Huma is from. She's from Bamiyan. You must have heard
Bamia.
of these large Buddhas. Of course, they were kind of
Yes,
destroyed by the Taliban, but
yes,
this is
sadly.
this is where she's from. It's a beautiful place.
Yes,
It's such a pleasure meeting you, Huma. I
thank
want you
you.
to know, like, I know we're in different side of the world, but if you ever need anything, if there's anything I can do to help, please always feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to be of an
Thank you
assistant
so
in any
much.
way.
Thank you. Yeah,
Sure.
today I have exam, and the next will be my last exam, and then I will enjoy in this conference again.
We'll love that. Well, I'm sure Vikram would love that.
Yeah, but I'll tell you something that Huma did. She shocked one person to a certain extent, someone who does family matters in the US, and she was talking about divorce. And she says in Iran, she sees that in a divorce, the pets of the family are given more importance than the children. So we had a session out there, family mediation, a cultural perspective. Huma could not join that because she had her exams. But there was, I mean, that's what I say that culturally, what is all this happening all over the world? We need to bring that in there. So that's what it's
That would
about.
be I would love to, if you find a family law mediator from from Iran, and I'm from here, from America, and just like share different perspective. That would be wonderful. We
Yeah.
can do a
Yeah,
session like that. That would be nice.
see in here, I mean living in the dormitory. Just I am from Afghanistan, and I live with a few Iraqi girls, but all are from all Iran. I sometimes speaking about this issue about Iranian students. All of them said in here is the situation has become so hard, especially about the family, about the two couples. As I said before, I said when the couple wants to divorce to each other, they don't pay attention about the children. As
Yes,
if they wanted to go to court and they said that please you will be stay about your children. but they don't care about the children. Many of them prefer their even their animals, dog and cat from their children. It is a hard situation becoming Iran, and also we have many lessons because I study sociology. We have a lesson about the sociology of family, as we have discussion about this issue in a class. And my class, all classmates from Iran, my teacher is from Iran. They share this experience that it's ongoing in Iran.
But I tell you, Leila, what I like about Huma is the nice, calm way that she talks. I really like that.
Yeah.
It's really
She's
nice
very
and
calming. She would
exactly.
definitely make it, I can say she can make a great
Make,
mediator.
she is. We don't say make in on my shows. I never say make a
Oh, she
mediator.
is. Yes,
Yes.
yes. My bad.
Thank you.
You know, I'm really curious to know if this whole dependency court process exists in other countries. I mean, you talked about, it seems like they don't care about the children where you're at, sadly, but I wonder how many other countries are going to be practicing this process to this level that is going, if that's happening in America.
Yeah, so we'll have a symposium or something on that. Let's bring in the perspective from all over the world. So that's the whole idea. That now you've given the topic.
Yeah.
Let's put it
Yeah.
out. We'll put it out. We'll do that. Like Huma, I
Okay.
wanted her to talk about sociology and mediation. Of course, she was busy with her exams, but that's another area which has to be looked at because the way society has been structured, how it's affected mediation over the years, a lot of factors which need to be discussed there. So,
Yeah, but okay, Vikram.
because Leila is actually talking about children and how protection of children in the courts there. So she's actually talking about that. That's a topic, juvenile dependency, as they call it. So that's what she's talking about. If you want to listen in, you can listen in. I understand you have your exams and you want to leave. So totally your wish, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, my at 10 o'clock my exam will be start, but I so
Oh,
interested to
please.
join.
So all the best for the exam, Huma.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Nice to meet you,
Thank
Layla.
you. It was a
I
pleasure
hope see
meeting
you
you.
again.
Best of luck
Thank
in
you.
your exam.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you, Vikram.
Bye. Thank you for coming
Bye.
in on a short notice. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
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 It's so lovely.
Yeah, just I mean, Huma's
Right,
calming
thank you for,
voice is it's just so nice the way she goes about it. It's just amazing. So
thank you for introducing me to her.
I'm sorry for cutting you short, but that was you
No,
said that you wanted to meet some other person from, of
I
course, from
love.
Lebanon. It's too early for her. So if she calls in, let's see. But please, your show again. Back to your show.
I love. I was like pleasantly surprised to meet her. Thank you for that.
That's the whole idea. People should meet each other, connect with
Yeah.
each other. There's so much similarity and so much to learn from each other. So I think that's what the whole idea is.
I should definitely follow up with that with you.
Yep.
To connect me with them.
Yep.
So, should I go ahead and share my screen?
Yeah. Please.
Okay. So we are now we're going to talk about the jurisdictional hearing. So the jurisdictional hearing here at this circle will determine whether the statements in the petitions are true. So if the judge decides the statements are true, the court will take the authority over the child. If the judge decides that none of the charges are true, then the case will be dismissed.
But can I come in, Leila, for a second? You were talking about the social worker and about you give an example of someone you know. You were talking about that. That was important.
Yes, I was talking about yes. So I was talking about the social worker where in the middle of the night, this is true testament of how difficult role they play. And they had to place 3 different siblings in 3 different foster homes all over Los Angeles County. But you get to the detention hearing and the maternal mother shows up and, you have the minor counsel, which is the attorney for the child or the counsel for either parents. So everybody gets an attorney through the system. And, they talk about how the kids are separated, they can't even visit them, they are so far from them, and they, some of them they don't even drive, they have to take like 2-3 buses. So they ask, can you please put them in a close relative so we can see the kids? And many times that happens in the detention hearing, where they have more time to now to think about where are we going to put the kids, because at emergency they had to pull them out and put them in different places. But you get to detention hearing, the judge really can and work with everyone involved to make sure the kids are now going to be at a better placement for the time being. Then we get to the jurisdictional hearing. The court, this is where the court will determine whether the statements of the petitions are true. So if the judge decides, again, the statements are true, then the court will take authority over the child. If the judge decides that none of the charges are true, the case will be dismissed. But in theory, a parent can disagree with some or all the allegations brought up against them, and they may ask for trial. So the parents can bring witnesses, expert testimony, depending on what type of cases or issues or charges are against them. In a jurisdictional hearing, usually the social workers has prepared a report documenting the reason why the child needs the protection of the court. So once the petition is found to be true, the case moves to disposition hearing, which just means the court has taken jurisdiction, because the judge believes that a child would benefit from the parents conducting some part of their lives or the child's life differently. This is where the judge will decide what parents should do to make things better for their families and children. So here, the judge can decide where the child should live. It's called the placement. Should the child live with a parent, a relative, or someone else? If the child would not live with a parent, where should the child live? With whom? And how can the parent have quality time with the child? They have to decide on the programs that the parents has to undertake to ensure the safety of the child and the ability to live with them. Decide what services are needed for the kids to return home safely. So let's discuss these two tracks. You see here, family unification and family maintenance. So family maintenance, the court feels the child is relatively safe and the parent has to successfully complete the case plan requirement. This could look like parenting classes, anger management, co-parenting classes, or therapy. The second track here is family unification. So if the child has been removed, then in order for parents to reunify with their child, they need to complete all the reunification requirements that the judge ordered them at the dispositional hearing. So example would be at the disposition hearing, mother is permitted limited parenting time. She has to complete parenting classes. She has to participate in domestic violence intervention programs. She has to do drug testing. And then in 6 months later, they have a review hearing, which you see here, to see how the mom is doing. The judge wants to know, did the mom complete her classes? Did she show up for her parenting times? What was the nature and quality of these times? How are the children doing? Do the children need anything? Are they lacking anything, for example, educationally or medically? So every 6 months, the court will have a review hearing, and the judge will inform the parents when the next review hearing will be. And the purpose of each review hearing is basically the same. The court decides, one, if the child should return to a parent or dismiss the case or continue with the plan as ordered. Two, make sure the social worker is helping the parents in making progress in their case. And 3, make sure that the child is being taken care of. So depending on the facts are, one example would be where the dad is progressing well, not quite finished with his case plan. So then the court or the social worker can liberalize the parenting time, such as like they will allow the dad to have overnights. So both social worker and the court has that permission to do so. But let's move forward through this track. Like we're going every 6 months. We're going to go now jump towards the end of the court process. So if a parent has completed the court order services or ordered at the time, and if a judge feels satisfied with the resolution and the child is safe, then the court may order the child return home. And that at every review hearing, the court is hoping, they really are, just being there, I see it, that they really want the parents to progress. They want the child to return home. But sadly, that sometimes doesn't happen. You can have a case where the parent stops progressing, or if a parent relapses and it's not completing the case plan, the parent can lose their parental rights. Then when permanency hearing is held, 366.26 here, the court will determine a permanent plan for the placement of the child. This point, they will decide whether or not the child should continue in foster care, as you see here. There's adoption, foster care, guardianship, or some places depending on the circumstances. So let's go in more details what they stand, each of these stand for. With adoption, the court basically terminates parental rights. That means the parent is no longer legally the child's parent and have no legal rights or responsibility for the child. And now the adoptive parents are the child's legal parents, and they're going to assume potential rights and responsibilities. And then we have legal guardianship. Legal guardianship means you don't lose, the parents don't lose their right as a parent, but their rights are on hold during the guardianship. And because guardianship can be reversed, and if someone is willing to be a guardian, like a family member that can, excuse me, extend the time for parenting, they can maybe help that sibling, hoping that they make further progress on their recovery. It could be it could be an aunt or an uncle will say, look, I'll maintain the guardianship for another few years while you're going to be working on your recovery. And the other option is long-term foster care. This is where parental rights are terminated and the child will continue living with foster parents. They could be related or unrelated. The case stays in the system, and the court will have a review hearing on that every 6 months. But what's sad, Vikram, these are children that are removed and they're moved with 10 different foster homes because, they could be acting out given what all the trauma they're enduring. Some of them have special needs, and nobody can meet their specific needs. I mean, it's really unbearable. But now they have extended the system to the point where the child can be in foster care until at age 26. This was changed to help the kids transition to adulthood if it's necessary for them. I can really empathize with the court wanting the children placed and having a sense of stability towards the end of this process. I get that. But I also empathize with the parents. The idea of terminating their parental rights and placing their children for adoption can be immensely painful for families. And I've worked with some of these families. I've mediated cases between the adopted parents and the biological parents. It's just heartbreaking.
Yep.
I mean, ideally, it would be better if they could be placed with a guardianship, not adoption, because some parents just need more long-term time frame for recovery. I mean, at the end of the day, when many of these children enter adulthood, they're going to start asking questions like, who are my parents or where I come from? So I'm going to go ahead and move to any questions regarding this slide, or should I go ahead and move on?
I was just looking at the 6-month period. I was saying, isn't that too long in a situation like this, because the child is growing up and these are formative years? Is that something?
Well, again, if the child is under, it's usually, from what I'm hearing from my niece, and I'm working in the CFS, it's now up to a year.
Wow.
But it could be up to 12, 24 months, and really depending on, again, the age of the child. But during the 6 months that the social workers are involved heavily with this family. So it's not like they're left on their own until they go back to another hearing.
Because I'm just thinking that within those 6 months, can the social worker approach the court and say, look, at this situation, I think that the child can go back, or whatever else needs to be done? Is that a possibility?
I mean, the social workers can make recommendations, but the end is at the judge's discretion.
Yeah, so at least they can. I mean, it's not that is an option that they can approach the court. But at the same time, are we looking at the parents? Are we looking at rehab for the parents? Is someone looking at that?
Yeah, absolutely. All of that. They put all that. That's what the intervention programs are for. When they put counseling, therapy, and I go into that a little bit more. But yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of programs that they're put into place for them to fully recover and heal from what they're going through.
Perfect. It's just.
So, I'm sure we all understand that struggling with addiction is complex and challenging to overcome. And the toughest step is towards recovery. To humanize this experience, imagine navigating sobriety through an intimidating court system. And you have custody visitations, you have an unstable home environment, you have the child protective services involved. These are all traumatic, formative experiences that work in concert with each other to threaten someone's authentic chance of sobriety, right? I mean, really, how many people do we know out there who can navigate sobriety in 12 or 18 months without any relapse, without any setbacks? How long does it take any of us to adjust to a major life change? How difficult was it? I mean, we continually mediated cases where parents, I'm talking about their struggles, where a parent had to take the bus to transport the children to the co-parent. And this is not just the parent taking the bus, the children are also taking the bus, and sometimes 2 buses with a 2-hour travel time. And I don't know how traffic is in India, but traffic in LA, let me just tell you, is heavy. It's terrible. And then you have the co-parent who's struggling because they can't afford the gas price. Gas price here is almost $8, and is working long hours and couldn't show up to receive the kids. It's just sometimes it's really difficult managing it all. I mean, they're between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
So why it's important? Everyone involved in the child protection services is having it difficult. Of course, the children the most, but there are not enough attorneys. And in some instances, these attorneys, Vikram, they have over sometimes 220 cases. And simply put, there are just too many cases, and there are not enough social workers. So the social workers are worked. There's not hours in a day to get through every case. Not enough programs out there to help the parents. There's financial difficulties, very little resources. Social workers are underfunded. What happens, resulting in parents remaining in the system for an extended period of time. Now, what the part that's really most heartbreaking is that we have 30,000 children who are victim of abuse and neglected and are entrusted to the care of LA County juvenile justice system. So why me mediate?
But tell me,
I'm sorry.
are people keeping a tab on these cases and to see what were those cases which were actually, I mean, in a child, just a child maybe, I mean, complaining about something which did not happen or happened at a minor level. That's something which is blown out of proportion, or is some neighbor saying something? I don't know how it works. I mean, who all complain and what happens? But is there something on that? Because that
I'm not on the. I'm not. I don't work in the legal part of it. I'm more on the mediation side. And even then, there's not enough. There's not enough for us to follow through with everybody. It's just there's not enough time, and there's not enough, unfortunately. And this is why I'm raising awareness about this issue. That we need more help to help these families. I mean, I'm hoping this is something we can do globally, help these families struggling. So I just remember that I would walk through the halls of dependency court, and you know, we as mediators, we would see these parents who they appear to be angry, but it's really to cover other vulnerable feelings. Underneath, they're scared and sad, and because anger is secondary emotion. So you walk through these hallways and sometimes you can see their fears. Their children are the most valuable treasures, right? Isn't it so much truth to that? And they're terribly afraid to lose their children. You know, you see parents sitting next to each other who refuse to communicate with each other. They don't want to talk to each other. This is why mediation is significantly important, especially at the beginning of the process. Back to where the petition was filed, right there was an opportunity for mediation. And what sometimes that parents feel they're not getting their because they really, when they're in the courtroom, the parents feel like they're not getting the perspective heard. There is an uneasy atmosphere. Social workers don't want to make any mistakes on the error of the side of caution. So again, this is where mediators can step in and assist the parents and their attorneys with arriving to a resolution. And these stories are really sad to share, but in the courtroom, parents are emotionally overwhelmed. They don't get an opportunity to say what is on their mind and to air their grievances while they're sitting there anxiously waiting for the judge to make decisions for them. Their nerves are going to prevent them from really understanding the complexity of what's happening. Their attorneys do all the talking, even though attorneys really do care about moving the proceedings as fast as possible, but they just simply don't have the time with each and every case. This is where, again, mediation gives attorneys, social workers, parents, other family members a forum in which we can all collaborate together and identify and solve problems without the pressure from the court. You know, enables everyone to be involved in the process and produce something that's valuable for the kids. Wouldn't that be beautiful? I like to read this loud. Imagine you're the young parent. You've been attacked by your partner. You find yourself lost in the court system, charged with child endangerment. You haven't seen your kids in weeks. English isn't your first language. You're confused and upset that you hear yourself yelling at your appointed attorney who has over 200 clients. No one can hear you. There are 30,000 of you in LA County.
So you've seen the inside, you've seen what these
Yes.
parents going through. So this is really important, I mean, to be put out there.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you provided me with this platform to do this.
Yeah, because that's the thing with the legal system in general, that the person that docket number, it's just a docket number. These are people, these are families, their emotions and everything which gets lost in that system. And that's why, like you said,
100%.
mediation becomes really important. Yeah.
So with children and youth who have been adopted, through mediation, we can help families maintain relationship with their birth families. It was probably the hardest mediation I had to be involved in. But this ongoing contact can lessen the loss and grief that they're experiencing because of separation, identity development, and it helps them overcome adversity as they prepare for adulthood. I mean, at the end, we really want to help families understand their adversity and challenges that they had to overcome, and hopefully to continue to help alleviate the pressure on the courts from being overloaded, including the professionals who have worked tirelessly on their cases. Everyone in that courtroom works hard. And we want to enhance the probability to come to an agreement on the best plan with the chance that they will not return to child-dependent system, to strive towards a common goal. And we want to assure children's safety, stability, and permanency. So with that said, this is my information. If anyone wants to get in contact with me regarding wanting to, if you want to be a volunteer at dependency court, or if you can help in any way, we would love to hear from you.
But Leyla, you'll have to just pronounce your surname so that people can.
Sure, Leyla Balakhane.
Balakhane, yeah. Because
Yes.
but can people join you on Zoom in some of these things that you do to learn from you on online
Oh,
basis?
absolutely. That's what I do. I co-lead a family professional development group once a month where I'm teaching, where I have other, we invite guest speakers to come at our group. And we will always love and welcome if people are interested to come to the group and learn. I mean, it's more, the group that I'm running is more towards family law, divorce mediation, but and it's more the subject matter that falls under the umbrella of family law. But we're more than be happy to, if you want, somebody has a very interesting subject matter, we'll be happy to have them be our guest speaker, or if they want to just come and join.
But tell me, if one of these sessions, can you put them out on, can we do a live thing kind of thing and put it on YouTube?
Well, because of privacy, unless I have to ask, but because of privacy, sometimes the members or people, they don't want to be recorded. But I can ask them in advance. And I think that should be fine. But I was asking that if you're willing for you to come in just for like half hour and just talk about what you do, or even 20 minutes if you're interested.
As long as you can let that go on YouTube or something, because I always, all my conversations, I try to put them out there, because something that you say, inspires someone, connect with someone. So otherwise what happens is that time, I mean, you're actually doing something important, you're actually having an important conversation. So I'm okay. If we put it out there, I'm okay with that. Let's do that.
I can invite Michael Lang. I'll invite
well, let me
Ken
tell you
Cloke.
Let me tell you about Michael Lang. He said he has these reflective practice groups, which have always been closed groups. But for the first time, we had a session where he called his some people from this Irish group, and he put it as a first. He says as the first time it's gone out on YouTube. First time it was done live. So I mean, look, a lot of people can benefit from what you people discuss. So let's put it
Yeah.
out there. I mean, let's put it out, because the thing is, finally, there are people all over the world who would never get an opportunity to have discussions like this. I mean, there are areas which have to develop everywhere. So for that reason, I want people to put out whatever they do. So whenever you have time, let's fix up a topic and let's give a little brief and post it. And let's invite people from all over the world to join in and have discussions. And
I would
then
love that.
connect after that. I mean, after that, how they have to connect, wherever they have to connect, so do that.
The only thing is that mine is at 6 p.m. So that means it would be 6:30 a.m.
There will be 6:30 a.m. Look, I'll be happy if when this happens in winter, it's perfectly all right, because in winter your 6 o'clock is going to be my 7:30, so it's a little better.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going
Leila,
to.
Leila, you can do a
I,
little later also. You can do it a little later. You can. I mean, you push a little on this side. I'll push a little bit on this side.
I think, if we can have mediators from around the world join in the conversation, and have you be the speaker and just connecting all the mediators together, that's something I can say there were people who would be willing to, let's just do it at 7 or 7:30.
But not in your morning. Is your morning a possibility? Because that way we'll cover a lot more people. Because your evening, my morning would cover
You
only.
know what? I can put it out there. This is going to be a morning session. If it's early, like we can do it at 7 a.m.
Yeah,
before people go to work.
Perfect.
That
That's
would
perfect.
work.
Yeah, that's
And then we
perfect.
can have, yeah. So that
So
would be
then
really
I'm not a speaker.
interesting.
Then I'm not a speaker. I am the facilitator. So it'll be.
Fine.
Well, let's do that. Let's do that, and let's announce it. Let's do that soon, as the end of the
Only if you
conference or whatever.
promise for my birthday, you have all this,
When
everyone
is
gather
your
and sing
birthday? When is your birthday? We'll do it on that day. When is it?
July 12th.
Perfect. So July 12th, we're doing this.
I'm totally being silly.
No, perfect. This is perfectly all right. Because a few
I think
days
I
later.
spoke too much.
No, it's perfect. Those few days later will be my birthday, where I want to
What's your
actually
birthday?
on the 19th.
Oh, wow.
So we'll
Okay.
get on that day. Definitely, I wanted to actually start a conference on that day, which was the World Peacemakers Conference, because I'm trying to divide people into two categories: the mediators and the peacemakers, because we need them to work together. So that we're a little
Love
early
that.
for that, because I mean, let's see. I'll put it out. Let's see how we get some people. I have as many people. That's an area that I'm focusing on now. The mediators part of it, a large amount of work has been done there. So now get the peacemakers and then connect the whole process, and that way then you develop mediation at the same time, because you need both. I mean, if you don't have the right mediators, what is the use of promoting mediation? Then if you can get mediators together, but then they don't get work, or they're not connected to the user, that's no use. So we don't want mediators to get discouraged. So it's going to go hand in hand. So that's the idea of getting these peacemakers together. So 12th of July is our session at 7 a.m.
I
Pacific time.
will, you know what?
It's done,
I'm
Leila.
going,
Only thing is
I'm
you'll
going to
have to sleep
put it
early.
out there. Just
No late night for you, no late morning for you.
wait, it's my birthday. You want me to get up at 7 a.m.?
Yes, you're gonna stay. We're gonna have a long birthday for you. You'll have so many more hours of your birthday with us and with people in your friends and everyone. They'll be so happy that they can wish you at 7 a.m.
We will talk about this further.
It's done. It's done now. Whenever I'm okay on the 12th, any day, at any time, I'm okay with that.
But I
It's
will
not.
I will send an email to all the members with Southern California Mediation Association and invite them. And then you have to let me know in advance the people who are going to be part of it around the world, so we can.
I'll put it out. I'll put it out immediately. The only thing is a little brief on what we can discuss, or what all you would want to tell them about. Let's do
You're
that.
going to. You're gonna be the main speaker, so
Speaker, I'm the facilitator. That's my job. Because look, I think this is a good idea. What
oh,
I'm going to do is, that's a very good idea. That whenever you have these mediators on their birthdays, let them talk about the topic that they're passionate about, and let people come to wish them also and talk to them about that. I think that's a good, very good thing. You've given me a
what if we have mediators to speak about like, in their country, how is
yeah.
mediation perceived?
And
Maybe that could
let's
be a
do,
dialogue.
yeah, specific to children. Let's do it specifically for children. So let's do that. That's what you are wanting to actually highlight. So let's see what's happening in the world and how some kind of a, I mean, jointly, okay, this seems to be the right process that you think is a good process, and then you can circulate it with your court system or the government, and they can look at it. So let's put everyone's experience together. Why not?
I would love that. I
So
would
now
love
you,
that.
so
That would be actually a nice birthday gift that we do this for the
perfect.
kids.
So that means you have to give me that brief now. And on the last day of the conference, also we'll put it out. I'll put out this video I'll post this video and I'll put it down there that we're celebrating Leila's birthday on 12th of July at so and so time.
We don't need to call it Layla's birthday.
It's Leila's birthday. That's it. Now I'm telling you this, you've given me a damn good idea. I used to do this on the last day of the month, call whoever's birthdays it is to come in. Now this is good. We'll do it on their birthdays and that topic, which obviously this is important, close to your heart. So let's put it out there. I think you've given me a very good idea, Leila. You don't realize that this is a damn good thing. The
Thank you.
person,
I
look,
think
like you
so
said,
too.
what you just said, that this is a damn good birthday present. I mean, you're out there talking about something which is you're so passionate about, and if people from all around the world can come and I mean, at least whatever they can pick up, anyone picks up something or contributes something to the process, what better?
Absolutely. Well, I couldn't agree with you more.
Perfect. So it's done. So,
Done.
so done. So now you just have to give me a little whatever, just a paragraph also will do, just to highlight the fact that what are we talking about, what all you would want them to talk about. I'll also maybe add something to it or so whatever.
I'd like to talk about how we can expand mediation through the Juvenile Dependency Court. How can we expand it more to help, not more towards the end, but more from the beginning? Because right now it's more exit orders where, the court has ordered parents to come together and create a parenting schedule. But I think if we can create a program, a mediation program where we can get more mediators and then be able to get from the beginning of the process and start helping with everyone involved and collaborating together in making mediation happen for families.
Yeah. So the only thing is that we don't know whether they have juvenile courts. Everyone doesn't have juvenile courts, maybe.
So
So
that's why I think it would be
yeah,
nice to have a dialogue with them to
yeah.
see
So
if there is. I think it would be amazing to see what other countries are doing
yeah,
regarding
yeah. So we
children who
just
are neglected or abused.
we'll keep the language simple as to the I mean, children who are in this kind of a situation, their protection, and what is the process in your country, and then how can mediation fit into that process. Just put it on a very, because I keep my language very simple because I'm illiterate, and I just put it out in that manner, so
Oh,
that's
hardly. Hardly.
totally. So, like I say, I don't know anything. So just for a person
Oh,
like me, if you can
I
explain
beg
it to
to
me,
differ.
if you can explain to me, then perfectly all right. Anyone would understand. Then I
You,
can put it out
you,
there.
you probably interviewed over 1,000 mediators around the world, and I'm sure by now you're well
Literate
informed.
enough. No, I'm telling you, I know nothing. That's my starting point. Everything else then there's something added to it all the time. So that's how
I
it's.
appreciate your
That's
modesty, but okay. We will definitely continue this conversation
modesty. No, you
on.
use the wrong word. Honesty. Honesty is the word.
So, Vikram, you're probably going to have the rest of your day,
And you,
and I'm going to say goodnight from Los
yes.
Angeles.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Leila. Really nice
Thank
for you to
you.
come in. And of course, topic is something which, of course, it's something very important and relevant. And like we just discussed, let's
Okay.
put it out there. Let's get people involved. Let's put it all together. But everything goes out on YouTube so that people can benefit
Awesome.
over time. They can watch it. I'm just putting content together. They can watch it when they want. Later, someone told me, look, if someone will look back after 5 years and say, oh, this is really important content for the mediation world. Perfect. Even that one person, Leyla, that one person, that's good enough. Like Huma, I got Huma in for you to see.
Yeah, she was
That one
amazing.
person, just that one person is good enough. Someone got inspired and got
Yeah.
activated somewhere. So thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you.
It's not going to be good night for you. I know you're going to be spending another 2-3 hours doing other things. but
But
so yeah,
I look forward to collaborating with you. Have a good day.
absolutely. You too. You have a good night. Okay. See you.